name is David Groshoff. I am the Dean of the School of Enterprise Management and Social Impact here at American Jewish University. The School of Enterprise Management and Social Impact, or better known by its acronym SEMSI, develops ethical change agents of all backgrounds to lead purpose-driven ventures, generate sustainable value for diverse stakeholders, and better the world. Today I am joined by Yaky Yanay, who is the CEO of Pluristem. Pluristem is a publicly listed company that, as a technology company, for no surprise, I suppose, trades on the tech-heavy NASDAQ. Pluristem is pushing the boundaries of science and engineering to produce cell-based products for various industries on a global scale. Pluristem is based in Israel, and Pluristem also currently operates in the regenerative medicine and food tech sectors, and aims to establish partnerships that leverage the company's cell-based technology platform. And so it is my pleasure to welcome Yaky Yanay to the conversation.
Thank you very much, David. Thank you for having me.
You are welcome. Thanks for joining us. Let's just get started talking about Pluristem, if that's all right with you. In terms of the cell-based products and things of that nature, let's just start with the basics. What is a cell-based product, or even before that, if there was something about Pluristem that I didn't mention in the introduction that we should know at a 30,000-foot level, feel free to talk about that as well.
Sure. So Pluristem, we are a biotechnological company that is based in Israel. Our original technology was invented, or we were born in the Weizmann Institute of Israel, which is a leading, of course, institute. And the Pluristem goal is to bring a different scale of drug, or even a different scale of products using cells. Cells are everywhere. I mean, we are built from cells. Our food is built from cells. Many things that we know are built from cells. And Pluristem is a company that knows how to work with cells. And this is what we are doing for different uses, for medical, to, as I mentioned, to food tech and additional industries. So generally, to talk about what is cells, or what is cell therapy, where things started. The concept is quite straightforward. We're used to consume products or drugs that are either chemicals or biologicals. This is what we are doing here this is what we are consuming as therapies in the last decades. Cell therapy basically means, let's take living cell. In our case, we are taking the cells from a placenta and inject it or give it to human bodies. We are using this tiny organism, cells, in order to create regeneration and supporting the well-being of patients, which makes perfect sense because we are built from cells, and no other drug like cell will be able to repair and support our health and well-being.
Great. Can you talk a little bit about regenerative medicine and what that is, how it can change quality of life for the better?
Regenerative medicine, it's a concept that's saying we should treat the patient, or we should treat people differently. I think that all of us, it's either ourselves or parents or grandparents, depending on the age of people that are seeing that, all of us see how the aging phenomena looks like and how our healthcare situation looks like over the years. And we're coming with a very straightforward concept, that understanding that our bodies is probably one of the most sophisticated machines. And we're using today two brotal or two drugs, even thinking about chemotherapy or surgeries or other way that we are treating today our health, which is way too aggressive, and it's not targeted and designed to treat this delicate machine, which we call it bodies. So regenerative medicine speaks about the concept of, let's use agents, cells, that are coming from different sources. And we're going to give these cells certain capabilities that we can do it in our labs, and we can get the cells becoming a drug, but a drug with intelligence. This drug has the ability to communicate, to interact with our bodies, understand the signaling of the body, and responding to it. And today we see the regenerative medicine goes across many, many different sectors, targeting from elderly population to other severe conditions that the current therapies that we have are not effective or not effective enough. But the main goal that I'm seeing from above is very linked to our day-to-day and our macro healthcare systems. We need to come with therapies that will allow us not to rely or not to be heavily treated in decades of chronic treatments, and trying to get people out of hospitalizations and give them drugs that really will regenerate the bodies, will heal them. We are having the regeneration process in our bodies when we are young, but this is the way that how the body is functioning. But when we are in good shape, the body has the ability to repair itself. We are bringing, in our example, young potent cells from placenta that are supporting this repairing mechanism and bringing back the body, the capabilities to recover and to regenerate the damaged tissues or conditions.
Pretty exciting, I think.
Yeah.
Very cool. One of the things that we teach here in business school or management school relative to enterprise is that it's important to have a unique value proposition, something that positions the company to make it uniquely itself. And I was wondering if you could speak to Pluristem and what is or what are the unique value propositions behind Pluristem. What makes Pluristem special beyond the things that we've already talked about so far?
So that's a valid question that I must say that in companies, in corporates, and we as CEOs, we don't often get the time to ask ourselves the very simple question: what is our value proposition? And what is the one thing in the world that we can really be the best in the world in that? And that's something because we're usually working, on the day-to-day. But this is a question that I was asking my team and ourselves about a year and a half ago. What is our real value proposition? I mean, yeah, I know that we're doing clinical trials, treating patients, but what is unique about Pluristem? And what this company can be really number one in the world, not in Haifa or in Israel, in the world. And we understand that our main value proposition is the fact that we are a full integrated company, and we are holding a technology that allow us to be able to provide a different cells type. We develop a really unique technology that understanding that cells need to build in the system that is as close as possible to the human body. And we were able to design this system in the last 15 years with a lot of investment and efforts. So we can develop a very sophisticated product very quickly. But our real value proposition that we will be able to enable large-scale production of cells in mass quantities in an effective cost of goods. So the combination of being able to develop very advanced and sophisticated product quickly and to enable manufacturing in the end is a very unique proposition for Pluristem in the technological point of view. We have additional some significant strengths that are not necessarily lies in the technological side. We have a very strong culture as a company that across many crises, and all of us being in a major crisis in the last 2 years, enable us to be able to overcome and even get stronger from each and every crisis like that. So great technology and great culture. It's a good starting point.
Okay, that's fantastic. And in terms of culture, I think we'll talk about corporate culture before we talk about cultured food. We'll come back to that. But in terms of corporate culture, one of the first things that I would like to talk about, just because it's in SEMSI's mission statement, is serving diverse stakeholders in an ethical way, is an email or a letter, if you will, that you sent out last May relative to Pluristem's really multi-ethnic staff and employees regarding tensions in Israel between Israelis, Arabs, and others. And I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about why you as a corporate leader felt the need to write that email, and also were you ultimately surprised that that email then spread outside of Pluristem and was really well received in places that I suspect you didn't anticipate ultimately seeing this. So I would love to hear about that.
You know, David, we are living in Israel. It's a hell of a complicated place. Always been. It's not only now. And I think, for me, one of the main keys is holding the leadership position in this company, that we need to be crystal clear and respond quickly. We cannot let the general crowd or even public governments to dictate of how things are going to handle in Pluristem. We are building a company, and maybe it sounds like too big of a thing, but I really hope to see Israel becoming one day as Pluristem, is what we see in Pluristem. We build over the years a very strong culture of respect, partnership, and people that are dedicated to this company and to this country. And actually, I always tell my employees and management and everyone that I meet, of course, I can see, but I'm blind. I'm blind to culture. I'm blind to color. I'm blind to religious. I'm blind to weight, height. I'm blind to all these parameters. All of us are human beings. We are in Israel. That's the Jewish land. We are obliged to be able to keep, and we're saying the mitzvah that coming most of the time is in the Bible, to respect and to care the ger, the people which are different from you. And that's something that I see all the people and all the religious and all the ethnics that is really as partners, and something that it's important to promote. And I really cannot bear it to see that there are going to be any misunderstanding, or people that will look different, at people that they are the friend, they are sharing a space, they are eating together. And that's our goal as leader, and wherever we are, to be very clear about that. We will not bear tolerance like that. Yet there is always tension. Even yesterday or the last week in Israel wasn't easy. But we should remember the ultimate goal, and we should remember that it's building things with the group around you. So I'm trying to be as clear as possible for that. And Pluristem for me is like a mini Israel that I hope that a certain day we will be able to explore, to bring this light to the entire country, because it's doable. People can work together, can live together, can love each other, and I'm seeing that on my day-to-day. So I'm trying to be as vocal as possible about that, and I was surprised to see how that it's actually spread out quite significantly. But it's up to us to stand up and to talk. We cannot stay quiet.
That's great, and I guess beyond just an email or kind of just the tone from the top, if you will, communications coming from you as the CEO, how else does Pluristem kind of build and develop this culture that embraces diversity and respect for all of its employees, regardless of background or other characteristics?
People, we have this saying in Hebrew that we say, after the actions or the activity, the hearts follow the activity, or not just the talking. So you need to demonstrate that, and people in Pluristem know that it doesn't matter their gender, religious, color, or whatever, they will be promoted and will be successful based on their dedications and talent. That's it. And something that I usually have, I'm argue with my guy. It happens that even the majority of my management team, they are women. But I always tell them, you are not here because, and they are proud of it. And I said, that's fine. But none of you are holding this position because you are a woman. You are here because you are a talented manager. And that's the way to go. And it doesn't matter to me the origin of that. And I think that's something which is, when you are clear about things, people understand that. So we are, for one hand, embrace diversity, but personally, I'm a very Zionist. So people that are going for the military service that they're doing, we embrace them. And people that are donating to their community, we embrace them. And we are celebrating the holidays of all religions. And people feel free, because I want people that work in Pluristem will be able to be themselves. They don't need to play, they don't need to act. And we're at our best when we are really ourselves and we feel comfortable to do so. And this is what we have built. It's a long process, a long journey, and I was blessed to have them really the best partners and management team that are coming with this common vision that we have, respond quickly, protect, building this mutual communication and bonding, and then it's unbound contact between the employees and the management. And we saw that during COVID, we saw that in many cases, we are really have the ability to work together as a community. And if COVID puts us in dangerous situation, so in my sense, instead of laying out 30% of the employees, management took a decision to cut 50% of their salaries. So everybody will be able to continue to work. So this is how we are building eventually a company, a community, and we are able to work together. And that's one of the key things in this company.
I suspect that's very attractive to a lot of employees and perhaps those who would like to be employees of Pluristem, which I suspect is why Pluristem has been ranked by the Dunn's 100 list as being one of the best high-tech companies to work for in Israel for, what, at least 5 years in a row now. I don't know if there's anything else you want to say that makes Pluristem a special place for people to work beyond what you've already said. But if you would like to, we haven't touched on anything, feel free, because that's a pretty impressive list to make, and to make it consecutively for that many years.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree, and it's kind of, I actually I like that very much, because we are competing with guys like Google, Apple, Intel, and the high-tech sector is booming, and we are in this list not because we are paying the highest salary. Of course, we are trying to compensate our employees fairly, but because they feel that they are doing something which is unique. They are doing something which is important. They are contributing to their day-to-day health, sustainability. So that's something they're working with a purpose, and with the culture that we have them around, that we are very proud to be part of the list. We are very proud in our employees that are actually the ones that are nominating. They're saying that's the best company to work with. We're still the only biotech company in this list. I hope it's going to change, to see more and more biotech coming across, not only high-tech companies, which of course are great, but biotech is a very interesting thing.
And that's great. You talk about purpose, and the sense of that is it's extremely important. And I guess just building on the discussion about why Pluristem might be an attractive place for employees to be, what attracted you to Pluristem and the ideas of Pluristem, and kind of what's your background, and what drew you to what Pluristem is doing?
That's actually a funny story. I have a financial background. I'm a CPA by training, so this is how it started. And I was for the high-tech sector most of my career, working in machine vision, algorithms, etc. But one day, I always liked biology, and I was fascinated by the human body. But I saw this one very simple, amazing graph. It was the graph that showing the change in life expectancy in the last 150 years. And do you know this feeling? It happens to me that you see something and you get like a flashlight, like something that strikes you. I couldn't believe what I saw. And I saw a graph that basically saying that humanity doubled its life expectancy in the last 150 years. From 45 in average to over 80. Doubled, only 150 years. And I was blown by that. I couldn't imagine. I was looking deeply into it. And then I started to see, okay, if that what happened, what are the forecasts? How the next 50, 100 years going to look like? And I'm amazed to see that from the United Nations and WHO, people are predicting that this phenomena will continue. And I immediately realized that biotechnology is going to be the most important thing, because I told you I mean, we're talking about corporates and big strategies, but also we should look closely at our parents and grandparents. And I understood that if we like to continue to treat our parents or our families, our patients with dignity and respect, we need to change the way that we are treating human beings. That's what led me to biotechnology and specifically to regenerative medicine. We need to come with different systems. We cannot hospitalize patients for so long. We cannot continue to consume drugs for decades. It just doesn't make sense. And by the way, our healthcare system will not be able to carry that. So we need to take very soon. I mean, if we're going to continue with the same direction that we took in the last, I don't know, 30, 40 years, we need to take two significant decisions. Is it going to be a financial bankruptcy because we cannot afford it anymore? Or it's going to be a moral bankruptcy that will not treat the elderly and patients? And I'm saying no. I want to be able to treat the patients, but still to be able to come with a reasonable healthcare system. And that's the reason that drove me to biotechnology and to regenerative medicine, with the understanding that we need to change it. We need to come with a much more sophisticated agent than drugs. And since then, I'm all over in biotechnology, very active in Israel. And I feel blessed to be able to work in an industry that I have such a strong driver to change it.
Okay. So on Monday of this week, just kind of shifting gears a little bit regarding Pluristem, on Monday of this week, I believe it was, you were at the NASDAQ to ring the closing bell, along with the CEO of Tenuva, which is I think the largest food company in Israel, to I guess promote, along with NASDAQ, a really exciting partnership that Pluristem and Tenuva have entered into. And I was wondering if you could talk to us a little bit about that partnership and why that is so exciting and so important.
It was exciting. It was a beautiful event. It was exciting for all of us. This story started, as I told you, about a year and a change ago, when Pluristem, we did a strategic discussion of what is our main competitive advantage. And we understood that it's about our ability to expand sales very efficiently, actually more effectively than anyone that we could see globally. So we understood that if this is one of our main competitive advantages, let's leverage on that, and not be focusing only on producing our PLX product, which is our therapeutics part. And we started to identify industries that they really have a strong need for a mass scale, cost-effective cell production. And of course, food tech was shining very quickly as one of the main industries that require mass cell production. We were able to build a short list of 5 to 6 different industries that we would like to tackle, but it was very clear that that's something which is important. But we are a technological company. We're a cell-based technology platform. We don't understand anything about food tech. So the first thing that they did, after we were trying to build our proposition, understanding what we can contribute there, I gave a call to the CEO of Tenuva, which we are very friendly. And that's the advantage of Israel. It's a small place. And I told him, Eyal, we had this plan. I do want to discuss it with you. And then I had some thoughts. Let's meet. And we met at the house of a third friend, sitting in the balcony. And I was, challenging them and telling him what we had in mind, how our strategic plan looks like, looking for feedbacks. And he told me, Yaky, we have a keen interest in food tech. We actually invested in an incubator in Kiryat Shemaim, the northern part. We believe that that's going to be the growing engine of a company like us. And I told him that sounds good. So let's build teams and work together to see if it makes sense. And we were playing very transparent, the numbers, the concept, and what each party can bring along. Because I'm not a food company and he's not a technological company or a cell therapy company. And we came with the concept to say, if we're going to pull the capabilities of both companies together, we probably can come with with a very significant competitive advantage. So let's work together. Let's try to make the change. So we built a company. We spun off. We did a joint venture. Pluristem has injected all its license and IP. We are a very technological company, as I mentioned, with 130 patents and the most advanced bioreactors and GMP facility. Pluristem, Tnuva inject the capital for this venture, as well as its knowledge in customers, taste, cold logistics, and everything that is required from a food company. And we built this new venture that we nominated the CEO a few weeks ago, that is going to be very focused in bringing to become one of the leading companies in cultured meat. The advantage that you're putting two companies, Pluristem is 18 years old, Tnuva is 96 years old, with a lot of knowledge and experience, putting them together. So it's like giving birth to a child which is already 18, and you need to start to run very quickly. We have a very ambitious plan and broad plan, with the goal to complete proof of concept in 22, and hopefully to launch the first product in 23. That will be possible only because these are two companies that are expert in the field, and I think that we'll be able to do it. And we intend to expand. I mean, this is the first venture. We agreed in principle to enter two additional ventures. One is in cultured fish, and the third one is in cultured milk, because Tnuva, they, of course, controlling the entire market. They are excellent partners. I'm really glad that we have them as a partners, great human beings, but also a very good company. They are able to make a change in the food chain. And I feel privileged to work with such a partners. So this is what was celebrating in NASDAQ, and it was very nice.
It's very exciting to watch. And so to kind of transition a little bit, you, I guess as an educator, I'm familiar with the concept called EdTech, where it's been transformative, bringing technology into education and various technologies we can use to make it education, teaching and learning vastly different than it was 20, 25 years ago. Yeah. Also, as someone who came from Wall Street and who teaches finance, I'm very familiar with fintech, which has also been transformative in finance. You are involved in food tech, and one of the things that you just mentioned in the collaboration with Tnuva were things like cultured fish, and then you said cultured meat and kosher and cultured milk. And so the question then, as it slipped out, is naturally, if we're talking about cultured meat and cultured milk and food tech, how does staying consistent with principles of kashrut and kosher fit into food tech?
That's a very interesting question. I mean, not all the people in the world need to ask that, but we as Jewish, we need to ask the question. And obviously, Tnuva, as the largest kosher company in the world, that's a very valid question. So it's a shame that I don't have a picture to show you that was, a picture to remember. We had a full delegations of rabbis that from Tnuva and from Israel, across the different different sectors, that they are doing the process with us. And to see a picture of my guys, my scientists sitting on the lab with like 5 different rabbis around them, and they show them the process. It's these are pictures to remember, really. And it's a very interesting philosophical discussion, how it's going to look like, and it's going to be kosher. And I was so impressed with the level of discussion. And by the way, the rabbi knowledge in science, biology, it was very impressive. And we are still running the process. It doesn't end yet, but they came with like a first psak halacha saying that they believe that it's going to be first of all kosher. But what blew my mind that they say it's not going to be kosher, it's probably going to be parv as well. So think of the Jewish kitchen, how it's going to evolve and change if it's going to be parv as well, and we can mix milk and meat, and that's a beautiful thing about it. It's new things that are coming, and no one like us are able to change and evolve. This is what we are doing for 4,000 years. So why not? If it's not to be with food, it's a fair challenge.
It's fascinating. Absolutely, absolutely fascinating.
Yeah.
What is Pluristem doing in terms of sustainability? Because that's one of the things that's in SEMSI's mission, is to really focus on sustainability in enterprise. And I know it's important to Pluristem, and I was wondering if you could speak a little bit about what Pluristem is doing in terms of sustainability and helping to create a sustainable future.
I think that our DNA, our goal, we are breathing sustainability, and it goes from our business direction, our mission statement, where we are heading, and we have, big targets to tackle. And Pluristem, we are putting ourselves as, hopefully, to be one of the solution providers for this thing that we call it sustainability. It goes, I believe that it's going to be very relevant from the healthcare point of view, and the way that we're going to change the concept of how we are treating ourselves. That will significantly improve also the global sustainability and well-being. We're spending too much money on things that we don't need to spend, and take these resources to elsewhere. So thinking of treatments that will be able to prevent damages, or treating patients differently in one hand. We believe that we're going to be a major player in this cultured meat, cultured milk, and cultured seafood, basically transforming the way that we're going to consume products, or actually take advantage of this planet. It's not about the planet. It's not about people should think. And the way I think about it is what we're going to leave to our children and grandchildren. As simple as that. Don't need to look far or a big task. What's going to be the world that our my grandchild, when is going to open the window, and what's going to see? What will be the temperature? What's going to be how it's going to look like? And of course, also internally, since the company is so well focused in impact activity, also internally, this is we have a full committee in Pluristem that this is what they're doing. Also, the day-to-day sustainability, that it's also part of the culture that we are building. I'm a huge believer in that. I'm 25 years veggie. I believe that we need to change the way that we are handling this planet, because it's going to kick us off if we're not going to do it. So it's our interest.
Absolutely, absolutely. What I know you've talked a lot about what the exciting things that Pluristem can do going forward into the future for various stakeholders that are out there, and I'm just wondering what internally, I guess, excites you about Pluristem going forward in the future.
We are starting, the advantage that we are having is that we are working with cells. We are a cell-based technology platform. And once understood that basically everything is built from cells. This is something that once you understand that, you remember the Matrix, the movie that they started to see the Matrix itself. So I sometimes feel that I see the Matrix itself. Once you understand that everything is made from cells, you understand that you can make an impact on almost everything. Of course, health, food tech, but also plants are built from cells. Everything is built from cells. And we are at an exciting times that we're going to transform the way that we are producing our goods, our food, our well-being, even our the way that we're going to use aesthetics, or how we're going to look like. And everything will be built up from cells. It makes sense, because these are the building blocks of this planet. And we develop the knowledge how to work with these tiny, amazing organisms that we call them cells. So the opportunities are unlimited. Today, we are bringing even advanced technologies, like the CRISPR technology, the gene editing, that allow us to be able to tailor and target a specific product that if we like to have for specific applications that were not capable in the past. We are part of a very large consortium in Israel that we are leading the biological side. So science is making a significant progress. I think that all of us saw that also in the last 2 years. And we are facing, that's going to be the decade, maybe the decade of the cell, that we will be able to know as human beings how to better utilize them for the benefit of ourselves and the benefit for our planet. So I'm actually quite optimistic. I'm meeting so many smart people and I'm seeing so many initiatives. And I feel that I'm in the driver position to make this change. So it's something which I feel blessed to be a part of this goal, and things going to be very interesting in this world in the coming decades.
It's great, and I'm just really happy that SEMSI has been able to share this conversation outward, not only for our MBA students and potential MBA students, but to our broader American Jewish University community here today, especially because relative to our mission, the fact that Pluristem actually walks the talk, if you will, when it comes to things like sustainability and diversity, and I think most importantly, impact in all different areas is really, really cool, I guess is the right word, and consistent with what we do, which we kind of think is cool as well.
Yeah.
And so I guess just to kind of move things as we wind up our time here is, sounds like there's a lot to be proud of in terms of what you've done as a leader of an impactful organization and enterprise. And what would be the one thing or two things that you're most proud of having accomplished, or that the company has accomplished during your time at Pluristem?
As I said, there are a lot of things to be proud, but I'm very proud in the very strong culture that we have as a company, and the ability that we really walk the walk, and people feel, as I told you, it's something that I always say, people feel that they can be themselves working for Pluristem, and that's something that makes things amazingly. And I'm very proud that company, the Pluristem we developed a culture that is very flexible, and we are able to tackle almost everything. So we have this feeling, and I feel very fortunate that this is where we are, that there is the feeling in the company, and once you're going to step in, you're going to feel that immediately in your bones, that we'll be able to overcome almost everything. It doesn't matter if it's a pandemic or an unsuccessful study or a global crisis, because it's a strong company. It's a company that doing something which is much bigger than all of us. I think that's and we were able to build this knowledge and the knowing that it's a company that can overcome almost everything. And we had our tough times, and they're going to be tough times in the future. But only if you have this strong feeling, I think that we can be successful, and we are here to be able to accomplish our vision and to make it happen.
Thank you. That about winds up our time here. Goes quickly,
Yeah.
but I really want to thank you and thank our guest, Yaky Yanay, the CEO of Israeli biotech company Pluristem that trades on the NASDAQ under the ticker PSTI. If you're interested in doing more research on what the company does and what they're all about beyond this brief conversation, you can check it out with that information. And it really has been a pleasure speaking with you, Yaky, and that about concludes our conversation today, and I hope everyone enjoyed this discussion, and hopefully we will see you soon on another webinar. Thanks.
Thank you, David.